So in this video, I am going to be covering in detail how I work with my direct callers out of Egypt. And you're going to ask me, well, Jared, how'd you find these random guys in Egypt? So there's a lot of Facebook groups out there on wholesaling and, finding off market deals. And the guy who owns Prime Lead Solutions, Mohamed, sent this post out about haters. It kind of struck a chord with me. He seemed very sincere in his post. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, man, what's your services all about? Right? And he jumped on a WhatsApp call with me. We talked for, I think the first time, probably 30 to 40 minutes. Hit it off really well. Seemed, again, very honest. It's really hard sometimes working with people overseas that you never know. And especially, I've never worked with anybody in Egypt. I have heard that, Egypt has English speakers that are good, and most importantly, they're very cost effective. And it's a business, right, guys? It's not that like trying to find the cheapest person out there ever, but you do want to find value, right? Because in real estate and finding off market deals, you are never ever guaranteed a deal or money, right? Like it could take a year, 2 years, or you just never close a deal, and all that money that you wasted, or not wasted, or used, just down the drain, right? So you really got to find people that understand the game. I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth. I tried bringing in callers myself, and I had to train them on what to say and how to close deals, and the right questions to ask the sellers, and then tracking them and setting up my own callers and pulling my own lists. And sure, I could call myself, but again, if you can delegate something, and in this case, for a very affordable amount, that is what you do. You delegate and elevate, right? Like, let me focus on more important things like making the money to, afford these properties or running the numbers or anything of that nature. So again, to get into it, these Prime Lead Solutions out of Egypt. I found him on Facebook. Mohamed owner is a great guy. Again, I'm not getting paid or referrals or anything to say this, but I want to go through with you in detail if anybody out there is looking for a cold calling company to help them find off-market deals. So I'll walk you through step by step how we do this. So first and foremost, we need the data. And when I say data, we need to have the contact information for all the owners, right? So like what type of property? I want to go through multifamilies, okay? And what zip codes? So I have to give them those zip codes. And typically there's other criteria that we're going to search for as well, such as how old the person is. So we like to do 50 or older. That means that they might be getting ready to retire or getting tired of managing, right? Someone who's 30, 40 probably has a lot of energy like me to go out and still want to be growing. So the chances are higher at 50, but that, if you exhaust all those options, you can then drop those or add the 40 to 50 age group in. I like to see 10 plus years of ownership. That means that they bought it a long time ago and that they probably have decent equity that's built up, which means that the price I can get it for is probably a little bit better than if they bought it 2-3 years ago. They haven't built up that much equity. So again, 50 plus, 10 plus years, a specific type of property, multifamilies in my case, and in the zip codes that I want. So how do you find that? So he has access to Property Radar. I personally use Reonomy. There's plenty of different softwares, but he uses Property Radar. You don't need to have an account with him to do this. He'll pull it yourself, but he will charge you because Property Radar charges him. So let's go through the numbers a little bit. So the way it works, and this is literally my invoice, is that I pay him $1,000 per month, right? And that's 20 business days. That's 5 business days a week for cold calling. So that works out to about $6.25 an hour. We have to pay for a dialer seat. So he uses a specific dialer seat. You can use batch dialer. There's tons of other ones that are out there, but I let him decide that. And what a dialer does is you put the contact information for all of the property owners in there, and it will dial and dial and dial and dial and connect whoever connects at one time rather than having to manually put in. I mean, it's just a time suck if you do that. So it's called like a batch or auto dialer, power dialer, or whatever you want to call it, but it's $200 per month per seat, and you can look that up. He doesn't upcharge that, which is fantastic, right? Then we have to pay for the records. Again, Reonomy, some other people, you can buy it directly. It might be cheaper, but again, he uses Property Radar. He likes the details with that. And just to go through those numbers, right? So for the 270, for the 3,300, we're looking pay about 8 cents to skip trace. That means getting the actual contact information himself. And then the contacts itself are about $2 per contact. So I'm paying both for the contacts and for the skip tracing. The way it worked at the beginning for me was 2 equal installments. Realistically, he typically does monthly, which is understood because he has to pay his people. And then what ends up happening is that I have now asked him to help me close more deals. So he's brought on a lead manager. This is different than the cold callers. Cold callers literally would just call, and then put it into either a spreadsheet. I have a CRM. They were great. They helped me set up my CRM, and they manually put that information into the CRM so I can go and I can move it along the lead stages. So if you have a CRM, great. They'll help you do that. And then I actually talked to Mohamed about also, him being personally involved, because I really like him and his ability to do it. And what he's doing is that if we close a deal, I give him a percentage of that sale, right? It might be a little unique in a scenario, but this is something I wanted because, again, time is an issue for me. I'm running multiple businesses, a lot of things going on, and I want him to be purely focused. And this is what they do. They find off-market deals. So, this is a contract in general. Again, overall, it's costing me roughly about, $1,500 a month, which is a cost. But like the old age saying, you got to spend money to make money. And the one right property could make me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So you got to be able to commit this time and effort and money into the investing to find this deal. Again, no guarantees, but it's really nice. So let me explain to you and show you how they are accountable outside of the CRM. So we use WhatsApp. WhatsApp's just a messaging software. And what they do is I have him and his other team members that are on there. There's a data guy, there's a calling guy, supervisor, and then Mohammed's in there as well. And we'll joke around with it, built a relationship. But it's really important. What they do is as soon as a lead comes in, and I'll just show you a report at the end of the day. So they have number of calls, number of leads, number of non-English speakers, wrong numbers, no answer, not available, not interested, right? So they give this at the end of each day, which is really nice. And then let's go through a actual deal. So this is a property that they got. Okay, this address was funky. They fixed that for me. But what it ends up being is it's a car wash. And I said commercial, right? So they look at the closing time, the lot size, the repairs, and their motivation and the asking price, right? They'll give me the lead agent dialers who calls names, and they'll give you a little bit of lead temperature, cold, warm, hot. That's another lead, right? And again, part of what they're doing, this is just straight the cold caller aspect. This has nothing to do with the lead manager or Mohamed getting involved. Now the lead manager would help me follow up on these, and Mohamed and them might run the numbers for me. And of course, running the numbers gets to be a little bit more detailed. You're going to have to tell them about your specific requirements, cap rates or returns, which again, really open to. I talk to Mohamed probably at least a half an hour a day at the beginning right now. But I wanted to show you WhatsApp because you're going to see the type of communication that they had. They give me feedback. They tell me if I need more lead numbers, right? Anything that's going on. Full transparency here, right? And they've been great to work with. Leads so far have been okay. They do have a guarantee that, a certain amount of leads per month. And if not, they'll call on their own time, which I love, love, love. They want to see us succeed. And that's really, really huge, right? Because you just don't want to be paying hours and not getting results. So he's been pretty much guaranteeing results at this point as a result. So that's, overview of Prime Lead Solutions, who we work with out of Egypt to do all our cold calling, how it works as far as how much we pay for the dialer seat, how much we're paying for records and whatnot. And again, the feedback and literally the accountability of him and his team and the relationship that I've built with them. And hopefully we'll be getting a lot more deals real soon. And overall, it's been a great experience. So if you want an introduction to Mohamed and the team or anybody else that I can help you out with, please let me know. Good luck in your search of finding off-market deals.